And sorry I'm running a little late today. I just got out of the shower, back from the gym. Usually running a few minutes late on Sundays. So my apologies. All right, we have lots to talk about today. We had my live stream on Thursday where I did a little role play session, something a little different than the usual live stream, which I think you all enjoyed. Yes, it was good. And we will start as usual today, the usual program, going over my favorite comments from the week after I braid my hair. Actually, we'll wait to braid the hair until after I read the comments, so I can wait for some of you to come in. Hello. And Jungle, since you're here, I hate to tell you this, but I had lots of people message me after a live stream the other day that you were deleting everybody's comments, and people were very upset about it, and I'm afraid I might have even lost some subscribers. So I do have to remove you as moderator for now. For anybody that is interested in being a moderator in the future, it takes a certain amount of trust, because if you are not moderating the room correctly, then I could be losing subscribers, and that hurts my channel. So I hope you understand that. It's very important to only be removing people that are trolling in the comments and not be deleting the comments from the regular subscribers who are, really looking forward to joining the chat every week. So moving along, I just wanted to kind of summarize that. So I know, I just want you to understand where I'm coming from. That if you're deleting comments, people get frustrated to leave the live stream, and some of them will even unsubscribe from my channel. So I can't have that happening. I hope you understand. Okay, let me finish braiding since I started the braid, and then we will get to the comments. Since we didn't go over comments in the last live stream, there's a lot to get to today. And next milestone for the channel is 8,000 subscribers. I haven't checked lately, but I think we're at like 7,750 or something like that. It's getting relatively close to 8,000, but I'm really looking forward to the 10,000 mark. Okay, so comments, let me pull them up. Lots of good things to discuss. But I did realize I forgot to turn down my air conditioning. Hold on one second, I'll be back in 10 seconds. It's a little warm in here. That's better. Okay. Did Mo keep you guys company? Did he entertain you? Were you entertaining? No, you weren't. You were just sitting there, sleeping. Okay, so we will start with the more recent comments and work our way backwards. First comment that I'm going to address today is from Das Paranormal, who commented on the video that I just posted today. I think he was asking about the flag that I have on top of my bookcase, and he asked if I was a vet. And if you see a video with that flag on the bookcase, I am not a vet. That flag was gifted to me from when I used to own my dance studio. It was right near a Marine base, and a lot of my dance students that came in, where a lot of them were Marine wives or Marines themselves. I would say most of them were actually like Marines themselves, and my studio meant a lot to the girls that came in, and one of them dedicated that flag to the studio. So obviously very sentimental for me. And it was very hard when I had to close my studio, and I know it was really hard for a lot of my students. So along those lines, I wasn't planning on transitioning my Instagram account that I've had for many, many years, which is mostly pole dancing. It's what I used for my studio when I used to have my studio. I wasn't planning on posting anything about financial domination on there, but I've tried to have, I think like 4 or 5 Instagram accounts now, and they all get removed very quickly. So I'm trying to use an older account, more established account, to see if I can use that. And since I have been posting financial domination stuff on my Instagram, now I've got some of, I had a pretty large following on Instagram before I started doing financial domination, and I have some of those people that are curious about financial domination, women who are kind of interested in getting into it. So we'll see what happens. I would love to have some of my pole students be fellow goddesses with me. That would be lovely. So we'll see what happens with that. Thank you, Leo. He says, "You're so beautiful." I appreciate that. Oh, Michael says they don't need AC in Connecticut today. Well, here in Florida we do. We had a few cold days last week, but it's back to the high 70s, low 80s. And I think it's gonna cool off next week, and it'll go down to the 50s at night, which is nice. I like it when it's cool. I grew up in cold weather, so I don't necessarily like snow and cold weather, but after living in Florida, and California gets very hot in the late summer too, but it gets rather unbearable here, so I actually really look forward to the cool weather. Moving along. Next I am going to respond to a comment. This was on a live stream. Oh geez, that's all blurry. Why did I do that? This was a comment that somebody left on, hold on, let me just edit this so I can actually read it. This was a comment that a sub left on one of my live streams, and there we go, that's better. A woman responded to that saying that, I think I banned her from the channel, but she was responding to the sub, and she said, "Happy weekend, sweetheart." And the guy had said he had a nurse kink, and she said, "I'm a nurse, blah, 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 mistress." So she was basically trying to pick up subs off the comments in my channel. This is a huge pet peeve for me, and I know most of you that subscribe to my channel are submissives, but if you call yourself a dom and you tune into my channel, you're more than welcome. I hope my content is helpful for you, but do not do this. Do not come on another dom's social media profile, YouTube channel, whatever, and be trying to pick up subs in the comments. It is extremely poor manners. It makes you look very bad, and you're not gonna get subs that way, because subs subscribe or follow a certain dom because they like that dom, and you coming along and trying to throw yourself at subs makes you look very bad to them, and that's not the way to get subs. So if you're watching this and you're a dom, do not do that. That is not the way to get subs. It is, and it pisses me off, honestly. It's very annoying. Okay, and it's not that I feel any competition towards people, it's just a very rude thing to do. It's very rude. And I've talked about that before, but you know, I don't expect people to watch every video of mine. Okay, so this question is from somebody new, Riven, I don't know how you say it. But he says, how does a dominated people feel whenever you want to control them? And the question, I don't know if English is your first language, but the question is a little confusing. I think you're asking how it feels for a dom for us to control people. So I'm gonna answer the question that way because I'm not quite sure if that's what you meant or not, but I'm guessing. And Josh says trying to poach subs from another goddess is quite disrespectful, and I agree. And it just, like I said, it's not the way to get subs, because subs aren't looking to serve just anybody. That's not how it works. They're usually, like I said, following or subscribing to somebody because they like that person's style. So when you come around and do that, it just is gonna make you look bad. Okay, so to answer this question, how do dominant people feel when you are controlling people? I think it could be answered, I'll answer it both ways, because I just thought of another way it could be answered. But for me personally, when I'm dominating somebody, it makes me feel like a thrill, I guess you could say. It's thrilling. It's very satisfying. It is very appealing. So I hope that answers your question, if that was the question. The other way that I think this question could go is maybe you're asking how it feels if a dominant person, if somebody is trying to control a dominant person. I don't think that's what you're saying, but if it is, when men try to control me, it makes me laugh, honestly. It's amusing, and it is, what's the word? It's just, it just makes me laugh, honestly, because no, just no. Okay, wow, I really did okay, I'm not saving the comments on the iPad anymore because all the live videos are blurry. Oh, this is a funny one. This is a funny one. Okay, this is from Patrick, and you guys know what's the word? I read Patrick's comments a lot because he does really good ones. And he goes, which video is this on? I don't know which video this is on, but he goes, he goes, 1, 2, goddess owns you. 3, 4, better please her more. 5, 6, goddess has keys to lock up D words. 7, 8, disobeying her seals your fate. 9, 10, men will never have freedom again. I worship you and beg to serve you. Supreme goddess Fiore greets you properly by kissing your sacred feet. And that was lovely. So, Rolando, yo hablo un poquito español, pero that's a very long message and I don't have Google Translate to access, please. So if you know English, please put your comments in English because I don't know what you're saying. I would love to know what you're saying. Okay, moving along. Oops. I hope you guys enjoyed that little poem as much as I did. I think I might have addressed this comment before. I'm gonna read it again, and forgive me if I might have read this again last time. So this person said, my wife is a nurse and she should wear uniforms while teasing me, putting me in my place. She says she can get into trouble if her bosses found out she dressed as a sexy nurse. If she dressed as a sexy nurse ever though. Something about promoting harmful stereotypes. Either way, she still knows how to control me. And I think I did read this comment last session and I was annoyed by the fact that his wife feels like she can't dress up as a sexy nurse because her job, she would get in trouble at work. That's so ridiculous because what you do in your own home and your own time is nobody's business. And that's what I responded to him. But the other thing I was thinking about this comment is that he mentioned promoting harmful stereotypes. Please tell me how dressing as a sexy nurse is promoting a harmful stereotype. That's ridiculous. And if that is the case, then you better not have anybody dressing up as a fireman or anything sexy for Halloween, because I guess that's all promoting harmful stereotypes. No fun. Nobody can have any fun. No fun allowed. Okay. I am not a doctor. No. I am in healthcare. I am not. Rolando, you're leaving me long paragraph messages in Espanol. I don't know what you're saying. It's me. I don't care if you want to shave your head bald. That doesn't, are you the one that left the comment earlier telling me you were going to shave your head for me? I didn't tell you to do that. Don't act like you're showing me devotion when you're giving yourself tasks. That's silly. It's just silly. You're a silly man. Sack says, what did he say? You were wonderful and beautiful. Thank you for that. And then he asked if I was a doctor. I am not. Okay, moving along. Where are we? Okay, so Anybody in the comments, were you guys here for my live stream that I did on Thursday, the role play? Oh, there's a cat outside my window. Hi, kitty. No. Oops. It doesn't concern you. Come here. Come here. I shouldn't have done that. My bad. Was anybody here for my role play video? Let me know if you joined me for that and what you thought if you were here for that. Ben apologizes for being late. That's okay. We're not having class today, so you won't get in trouble. I'm not giving out detention today because I am not in my mean teacher outfit today. So you get to slide this time. Oh, Arcane says, yes, but he hates that he was busy during the whole stream. That's a bummer. What were you doing? Yes, Josh, I know you were present for the Mean Teacher stream. We've already discussed this several times. You were lurking in the background, observing, probably doing other things, and not participating. Yes, I already know all about you. Ben says the Thursday stream was spicy. You could say that. I get a little ornery, shall we say, when I get into that character. For sure, it's true. It's very true. Speaking of Josh, I don't think I read this comment, but it is a little entertaining, so we're gonna read it. This is from the last, maybe it was the Lady Boss episode before last. He says, I have nothing to say in my defense, goddess. I am too ashamed to even speak. And I am speaking from personal experience. Many years ago, I had a job working at Target, and I was quite troublesome. Mouthing off at customers, slamming the shopping carts into each other. That was his position, gathering the carts and bringing them back in. And one of my supervisors was quite formidable, repeatedly pulling me aside, practically in my face, snapping, "Look me in the eye when I speak to you." And she quite heavily emphasized that point. Any attempt to speak out of turn was always met with, "No, quiet. You do not get to speak yet. When I am done, the only two words I want to hear out of that big, disrespectful mouth of yours are yes and ma'am, in that order." I believe her and I would have got along very well. Don't you think? Yes. We would have gotten along very well. Rolando is still leaving comments in massive paragraphs in Spanish, and I still don't know what you're saying. Something about Dominican Republic, which I was actually there last year, fun fact. Arcane was driving around running errands, so he was able to listen, but he couldn't engage. Okay. That's understandable, but you still get detention for being there but not participating. It's only fair. Anthony, were you the same one asking that stupid question the last time I did a live stream, asking if I snore? What is that? Who cares? Moving along. User something is on his knees, as you all should be whenever I'm speaking. But thank you for informing me of that. Okay, so now we have a comment from, this was on a live stream. Or no, maybe it was on one of the videos. This is from ASL, and he says, "So powerful, my lady. I love your diction, excuse me, and appreciate your education. How did you develop these formidable talking skills, divine lady?" How did I develop formidable talking skills? That's kind of a hard question to answer, but I guess I would say that I grew up reading a lot. I think reading is very important, especially in this age of a lot of frickin' electronics. Get your kids off the frickin' iPads and iPhones and put a book in their face. Don't let them have the electronics. Take them to the library. I used to love going to the library when I was little. So I grew up reading a lot, which obviously is good for your language skills. I was always very good at English. I enjoyed writing when I was little. My dad is a writer. And I was in all the AP classes when I was in high school, like the advanced classes. I was sleeping through them in the back of the class. They were after lunch, so it was hard to stay awake, but I still managed to get A's somehow because I'm good at English. So I would say that my English skills mostly come from doing a lot of reading as a child, is what I would say to you. As far as speaking, I guess with my main job, I have to speak to people in, you know, one-on-one settings a lot, obviously. So I have to be able to communicate appropriately. And I have also given many in-services. When I used to own my dance studio, we would have shows every few months. And so I was speaking to a crowd there. So I'm very comfortable speaking in general. I hope that answers your question. Rolando, again with the long Spanish paragraph. Don't know what you're saying. Joshua says his childhood was pre-smartphone and tablets. Computers were still a fairly new invention, so reading was a big part of education. How old are you? If you feel comfortable answering in the chat. And yes, I am old enough to remember when we had typewriters. I remember having a very old, I think, IBM computer. And then I remember when the internet came out. I am also pre-internet. It was a different era. And it's really scary to see people, and I'm on my phone a lot too. I'm not gonna act like I'm, what's the word? I'm having trouble with words today. I'm not perfect by any means, but especially young children, I definitely have a problem with them being on electronics all the time. And I will also say that my first job out of college, I was working in schools, and most of the children I worked with, their issues were because they were glued to tablets and electronics and video games and did not develop their motor skills. So it does have lasting impacts on children. Okay, enough of a lecture about that. I'm done lecturing you for now. Let's see if I have any other comments. Nope. I feel like I had a lot more, but maybe I hadn't saved them. That's okay. So let's talk about the past videos that we had this week. Josh, you still haven't answered me how old you are. Like I said, if you're comfortable answering, you don't have to. So the videos that I did this week, we'll start with today's video, which I actually recorded. Obviously, that wasn't just recorded in the last couple days. That video is probably a week old. So when I do the updates, I'll probably do one this Thursday about subs. I have lots of new subs even since that video that I posted this morning. But I think it's kind of fun to update you guys about the subs. What do you guys think? Do you enjoy those videos? And to kind of call out the people who are being good and bad. And I think they're educational for anybody that's trying to get into financial domination as well. Look who joined us again. Yes. So I did the update video. Like I said, that was recorded probably a good week ago or so. Jungle likes the update videos. And let's see. I actually had a new person trying to approach me since Thursday. I think he was in the live stream on another platform because I was live streaming from a couple platforms. Oh, shoot, now I have hiccups. Sorry. And he was saying that he wanted to do a drain. And I told him I can't really do a drain while I'm live streaming. It's just, I mean, I guess I could, but he wasn't sending. Like, don't tell me you want to do a drain when you haven't even sent me anything, okay? Like, that's really stupid. And he messaged me today on, well, he messaged me after the live stream and then again today on another platform. and kept saying he wanted to do a drain. And I kept telling him to send tribute, and he didn't. And he just kept saying he wanted to do a drain. So I ended up blocking him. Like, I just really don't like it when people waste my time. So, you know, I'm gonna get to a point where I don't even respond to people who haven't sent. I'm not quite at that point yet, but I'm really having a lot of bad experiences from people who don't send. This is a good question. Robert says, how can a young guy working 9 to 5 become a servant cleaner for a superior family? It sounds to me like you want to become like a maid or something. Correct me if I'm wrong. For a family, that sounds like you're looking for a couple. I would suggest you maybe go on FetLife and see what you can find locally. Obviously, if you're trying to be a service submissive for somebody, it's got to be somebody that's relatively close to you. So, which I would love to find here in Florida. I would really love somebody to come and clean my stupid grill. You know, I've said that many times, and my house. But it would have to be somebody, obviously, that I can trust. So, PayPig says, I want to get drained on 27th, payday live membership. I don't know what you mean by live membership, but what day is it today? Hey Google, what's the date today?
It's Sunday, November 23rd, 2025.
Okay, 23rd, so in 4 days. Well, then you just message me on one of my platforms. Make sure you send the tribute first, obviously. You will have to age verify, and then I'm happy to do that for you. It's really that simple. Like, there's, you know, it's the people, the subs that are good subs never have a hard time doing what they're supposed to do, and they know what they're supposed to do. The people, and this is good piece of advice for anybody who's interested in getting into financial domination, the people who are constantly messaging you, who are very needy, those are the people that aren't gonna send you anything. They're a waste of your time. The most needy people are the worst subs, is what I've seen, just in my experience. Good subs will make your life easier and know what they're supposed to do. People that are constantly asking questions without any action just shows that they are wasting your time and just looking for free attention. In my opinion, that's what I've seen. So, less talking, more action is what I would say. Robert says, yes, a maid, basically. I am from Europe and FetLife is not that popular. Well, I would say I'm from the US, so I can't really tell you what is available in your area, but whatever, BDSM meetup app or website is in your area, then I would check that out. Arcane says he loves my videos, especially the office teacher videos. Thank you, I appreciate that. So I do have a frog in my throat. Oops, I just tripped. I do have an idea for a new video. I'm going to film. Usually I do a lot on Thursdays, but Thanksgiving is on Thursday. And actually that's the main reason I'm doing a live stream today. Sorry, did I drip on you? Sorry, Mo. That's why I'm live streaming today versus Thursday, because obviously Thursday is Thanksgiving here in the US. And there's a small chance I might still live stream if I'm finished up with my family by then, but I'm not going to count on it. I'm not going to announce it or post it. If I'm going to go live, I'll just go live stream if I can. If I can't, then we're live streaming today. Next Sunday, I will definitely not be live because I have to drive my parents down to Fort Lauderdale for a cruise. So I will be on the road, which is not safe to live stream. Well, I guess I could live stream, but I wouldn't be able to read your comments. So, and people on the road here are crazy. So I do want to dedicate my full attention to driving. And, but the next time I do make content, then whenever that is, I have a good idea for a video. I'm not going to tell you what it is because I want it to be a surprise, but it's going to be good. And it was inspired by R, who I interviewed last week. Well, no, I interviewed him a few weeks ago. I posted the video last week. Did you guys enjoy the last interview? Did you watch it? He was very brave for doing that. Sheldon likes my shirt. Thank you for that. I also did just get my nails done on Thursday. This is the color I wanted. This is the color they did on my toes. I don't know if you can see that. It's like a bright red. It's like a Christmas red. This is the color I wanted. You see the difference, right? They put this color on and I was like, that's not what I want. And she's like, oh, it'll get darker with the second coat. And I was like, and then she did it and I was like, but it's such a pain in the butt to redo the whole thing. So I was like, we'll just leave it. But you see the difference, right? I'm not crazy. This is what I wanted, like a dark red, not the bright red. It's not really a major problem. I'll get over it. I'll be okay. But anyway, so, and then I think I'm having an allergic reaction right now to the nail polish actually, but that's okay. Moving along. So, yes, Thursday is Thanksgiving and, I will be filming the surprise video and I think I'm due up for a maid video. Would you guys like to see another maid video? I think you would. It's been a little while since I made one of those. And it's also been a while since I made a hypnosis video. So we are due up for one of those for sure. Orlando likes the color of my nails and my toes. Which color do you like better? And it doesn't have to be the color that I said, but I'm just curious. And I wish they matched. Yes, I wish they matched. So yes, and then I also have to tell you about, Arcane says, I should take a look into that live stream since it relates to cross-dressing, and as a cross-dresser myself, it is cool to look into other people's stories. It's not a live stream, it's an interview. So if you go to my videos, the last interview I did, it says interview with a cross-dresser, I think. And his name's R. Yes, you would definitely find that very, interview. Very interesting. And I just did an interview a couple days ago, Thursday, with a self-proclaimed sissy. And that was also a very good interview. That's a really good one too. And we kind of talked about the differences between a sissy and a crossdresser because it's easy to get them confused. The votes are in that you guys like my nails better than the toes, which I agree. I have a dog hair in my nose. Yes, that was the color I wanted. I even showed them a picture. I'm so pissed about it. That's not the same at all. They usually do a good job, so I'm gonna let it slide, but I'm not happy about it. Anyways, I distracted myself. It doesn't take much. So yes, we did the interview with the sissy and he was very nervous. He was very nervous. I'm going to put that in the interview too. I asked him if it was okay and he said it was okay, but he was very nervous about it. And, you know, it takes a lot of guts to do the interviews. I believe it was Ben here who, yeah, I think you were the Ben that had an interview scheduled for last Thursday, but I think I had mentioned to you, I've had a couple Bens cancel interviews. So I'm not scheduling any more interviews with anybody named Ben. Sorry, but my time is very limited. And when I schedule an interview, I expect you to be there. So I will not be scheduling any more Bens because I don't know if you're all the same. Daniel says, do or would you sell your worn socks? I have not, but I would. I would be open to that. If you have a question about that, or if you want to discuss that further, you can message me on my platforms. PayPig. Maybe message me on one of my other platforms and we can talk about exactly what you're looking for with a drain exactly. And you will need to send a tribute before we do a drain, especially if it's anything live. Because, what was I gonna say? I'm not gonna take the time out of my day and schedule something with somebody if they haven't put a down payment on my time, so to speak, because too many people cancel. So I just don't have the time for that. Ben says, I canceled. He says, you canceled. If I asked if you could move it to 2 p.m. and you canceled entirely. Yes, because you know, there's so many subs who do disrespectful things and then they delete their account and they come back. And so I don't know if that's the case. I don't know if you're the Ben that has canceled before, but I've had you and or another Ben cancel, and I just don't have the time to be rescheduling stuff. And I already had another interview booked earlier that day. So I'm not going to rearrange my whole schedule just for an interview. I have lots of people that want to do interviews. My schedule's very busy. So if you book something with me, you have to keep the time. And that's that. Daniel says, okay, he got the message. And Sheldon says, understandable. Thank you. I'm not trying to be a jerk. But when you work full time and day trade 20 to 30 hours a week and also do this, which is sometimes like a full-time freaking job, then I expect people to respect my time. Even if I didn't have all that going on, you should still be respecting my time. But I literally don't have time to rearrange my schedule for people. So, and like I said, from my experience, the subs that want to make my life easier and want to serve properly will do that. And then the people that don't, I ignore, because I don't like my life being made more difficult. No, I don't like that. Okay, so we talked about the interview that I did. We talked about the video I posted today. I will be doing a follow-up video of that because I have had some new subs since then, and some very good subs since then. And some of the subs that I predicted have come back. Very predictable. Noma is saying, Goddess, what about spanking and spitting? Do you like it? I have had many people ask me about spitting. I don't do it. It's not ladylike. I am a classy lady, in my opinion, and I am not going to be spitting. I'm weird about body fluids. I don't like it. Not doing it. Spanking, absolutely okay with, but I don't currently do any. I'm open to it, but I'm not currently doing any in-person sessions. If somebody would like to book one and or fly me somewhere or pay for my accommodations to go somewhere, I would be perfectly happy to do that. I think that would be fun. I'm confident enough to do that, but you know, I'm also very careful about meeting people, with that being said. But I would definitely be open to spanking, for sure. I will not be spitting. Blech. Sheldon says he didn't notice how sexy the color of the nails were until I picked up the glass. Yes, they are. Now that you mention that, I'm thirsty again. My nail lady called it blood red. And I said, I feel like blood's a little brighter than that. It's more, I called it like cranberry. And she said cranberry was lighter. What do you guys think? What would you call it? Noma says, what about the idea to have a sub that serves you, not sexual, just the feeling to be slave for you? Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I just mentioned that. I'm open to that for sure. Dang it. Arcane. That was kind of my surprise video idea that how did you read my mind? He says, any chance of making a makeup tutorial video? Fine, I'll tell you what the video is going to be then. Do you want to know? Since you already guessed it. I don't know how you were able to read my mind, but that's a little disturbing, honestly. You just plucked it right on my brain. You just knew. Okay, I'll tell you what it is. After I answered Noma's question, he asked, what's my sign? I am a Capricorn, and I am your typical Capricorn. Although I am on the cusp of Aquarius, and I have some of those characteristics as well. With that being said, now you know that my birthday is coming up. Christmas, well, Black Friday, Christmas, and my birthday are coming up. So the next couple months are going to be very expensive for you guys. So I hope you've been saving, because I told everybody a couple months ago to set aside a savings account for me. So I hope you've been saving up, because I got a lot of stuff on my wish list and I expect everything off there. Maybe not everything, because I did put some very expensive jewelry on there. Very expensive jewelry. But there is a wide range of price options on my wish list. There's stuff that's not as expensive, and then there is some very expensive jewelry on there. So I like to challenge you guys and see, you know, how far you're willing to go, right? Yes. Okay. Noma, I don't know what you mean. You said your Mars? Your Mars? I don't know what that means. Hello to Cameron. It looks like we're having a normal live stream today and not a bunch of weirdos like the last few live streams have been. It's been a little chaotic, so this is nice to not have all the weirdos, all the trolls. Okay, so Arcane, I was going to talk about the next video. And the video idea is inspired by Mr. R, the crossdresser I interviewed, where he was talking, when he started talking about how he really enjoyed Hello to Sissy, Miss Lily. He really enjoyed, or he really wanted to go to like a salon and get his makeup and his hair done. So one of my next videos, it's not going to be necessarily like, it's not gonna be like really like a makeup tutorial, but it's gonna be like a makeup POV. Like I'm pretending that you're the camera and I'm gonna be putting makeup on you. I may be doing your hair a little bit. I don't know, I haven't really thought out the whole thing. But crimson red, yes, that is an accurate description. Crimson, yes. Good way of saying it. So that is the video idea. Noma says, can you tell us how you started to be a mistress? I think it's a good idea to know you. So I have a whole video where I went over all that. I think I might have made it for members only, but I do have a video where I went over all that information. Arcane is excited for the video. Yes, you should be excited. And I think R is gonna really like it too, for sure. Because the sad thing about R is that he cannot partake in his kink because he is married and his wife has previously caught him and knows about his kink, and they agreed that he is not allowed to dress up. So the only, how do I say this? Excitement or way that he can really partake in his kink without breaking his promise to her is watching my videos. So I thought that would be a fun video for him. I think he's gonna enjoy it. And all the sissies that follow me, I think will also enjoy it as well. I think I'm gonna add a little bit of humiliation in there too, because I think, I know that a lot of you enjoy the combination of sissification and humiliation, don't you? You like the combo. It's not just about the dressing up. I know you all very well. Arcane is out. He has to go to work. Thank you for joining. Good to see you. The rest of you, and Sheldon agrees, yes. The rest of you, any questions for me? If nobody else has any questions, I will answer Noma's question. Maybe I'll go ahead and answer that anyways. Oh, Larry. He's asking, did you ever look for your rose gold with wristwatch? I'm the wristwatch admirer. I did look for it. I can't find it. I don't know where it is. I did look for it in the places that I thought it would be, and it wasn't there, so I don't know where it is. I don't think I sold it. I was trying to sell it a while back, but I don't think I actually sold it. So I'll have to keep my eye out for it, but I don't know where it is. What I do have is an iPhone watch, but I'm sure that's not the same for you. And that's really the only watch that I've ever enjoyed wearing. I'm not really a watch person, but I do like the iPhone watch, the iWatch, because you got all your apps on there and stuff. But a little weird thing about me is I'm right-handed, but I hate wearing my watch on my left hand. I wear my watch on my right hand, even though I'm right-handed. I don't know why people wear it on their non-dominant hand. Noma, what kind of questions we can ask? You can ask anything. You can ask anything. I'm not going to guarantee I'll answer it, but I might. You can ask and maybe I'll answer, maybe I won't. Okay, Larry says, thanks for looking. The iPhone watch doesn't do anything for him. Okay. I would tell you to get me a watch, but I probably won't wear it, so. Because I think I wore that one like 3 times. And it was probably very expensive. Okay, Noma is dying to know the story behind me becoming a mistress. And for those of you who aren't members, maybe you haven't seen that video because it is for members only. So let's see. It wasn't that long ago. I haven't been doing this that long. Okay, so I'll start with that. It was, how long ago was it now? Like 2 years? So I have been a pole dancer for many, many years. I think it's like 16 or 17 years now. I started working in clubs as a dancer, I don't know, probably approximately, hold on, how old am I now? It was like, I think it was like 5 years ago or something. Anyways, and then I worked in clubs on and off for a few years, and I was working at a club in West Palm Beach, Florida, and there was a customer who would come in. Yes, Ben, I was and still am a pole dancer. I only do it a couple times a week now, but I used to do competitions. I used to own a studio. I used to teach classes. So I definitely don't do as much as I used to, but I still do it. It's good exercise. Anyway, so I was working at this club and this customer would come in pretty frequently, like, I don't know how often, like maybe once a week or something. He was an older guy, and I talked to him one day and he started telling me about how he would go to these parties where there were like, it was mostly like older women and then these like younger men that were like serving them, and sometimes they would wear collars, you know, they'd be like on their hands and knees and stuff like that, and he would just like describe these it sounded like kink parties to me. And I think he was looking for a dom, and I didn't know anything about it at that time, so it was all brand new to me. So I started researching a little bit, and I was like, oh, this is really interesting. But he ended up being very rude to me. Like, I think he was looking for something very, very specific. And I think because I couldn't read his mind and I didn't know exactly what he wanted, he kind of wrote me off and he was kind of rude to me. So then he came in one day and I had a wig on because sometimes I would wear wigs just for fun. And he didn't recognize me. So he came in and I went up to him and I could tell he didn't recognize me. And I pretend like I didn't know him. And I was like you see how I am in my videos, that's how I was to him. I was very rude to him. And I could tell he liked it and he wanted to keep talking to me, but I totally blew him off because he had pissed me off. So that was kind of the story. But so that got me interested and I started researching. And I have had lots of experience with people with kinks, like fetishists in clubs, because you'll have those types of people come in to clubs sometimes and they have a specific fetish that they're looking to get satisfied. So I had experience with like CBT and sissies and various other kinks. So I've had in-person experience with that, but not since I have considered myself like a dom necessarily. So, and then I started doing financial domination in February of this year. So less than a year still. And that is my story. I'm just reading some comments. Let me see what you're saying. DeHout says, hi, how does other woman I am a sub do the know it quickly when the get to know me without talking about it? Your comment doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I think what I'm getting is you're a sub and how do women get to know you quickly? I don't really know what you're saying. So you're gonna have to try that question again. I'm trying to figure out what you're saying and it's a little confusing. Ben says, receiving money as a pole dancer got you into the idea of findom. No. So, like I said, that particular customer introduced me to the idea of BDSM and the lifestyle of BDSM. So that was the first time I'd heard about it. After I stopped working as a dancer, then I discovered findom. And I've mentioned this before, but even though I wasn't working as a dancer anymore, I feel like a lot of subs are like, think it's weird that dancers, and when I say dancers, I'm not talking about a ballet dancer, I'm talking about a dancer like in a club where you take your clothes off. I just don't know if I can say that word here. I feel like subs think it's weird when dancers are doms, like they feel like dancers can't be doms or something, which I think is completely absurd because, and I've talked about this before, but when you work as a dancer and you have people giving you money in a setting where you're doing something very enticing, I think that's natural financial domination. You have all this power and control over seducing men and they're paying you for it. So to me, I think it's a very natural progression into financial domination, in my opinion. Maybe people don't agree with me, but that's my 2 cents. Gnome says, I read astrology. For that reason, I asked you about the sign because I think they mix with, it will give a mix-up personality. I'm not familiar with the symbols, what they mean, so I don't know which signs you're referring to. I think the first one's a Capricorn. I don't know what the second one is. Mike says, hi goddess, it's Mike. I would like to wish you happy holidays. Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well. Gnome says, but as I know you from your videos, I believe that you're working with the psychology with dominance, not the normal. Okay, so Gnome, that part of it for me is If you've watched my other videos, you know that I'm in healthcare, and a big part of what I do in healthcare is psychology related. I've worked with a lot of people with psychiatric and psychological disorders and that type of thing. So I have always had a very strong interest in psychology. And for me personally, I like to try to understand people and where they're coming from. I think that makes you a better Dom, in my opinion. So yes, I'm very interested in the psychology behind everything. And you see that a lot in the interviews too. That's why I'm asking people about their childhoods, what their, relationship with their parents was and stuff like that, because all of that plays into how you develop as a person. And I did a whole video on the psychology of kinks, and I was very interested to find out that a lot of kinks can relate to psychological development based on the Freudian theory. So that's a very interesting video in my opinion. Oh, Rudolph says, greetings from Austria. Hello to you. Hello to Jono. That sounds like an Australian name. That sounds like something people in Australia would say. Mike cannot stop thinking about my pink Barbie heels. And he hopes to see them one day for a show and gives me tips. He loves the Barbie shoes. Well, maybe I'll have to make a video of them soon, and you can always leave a super thanks, super chat, whatever it's called. Gnome says, what about the insulting as a Dom? Can you work with that if a sub asks you for that? Extreme insulting. For me, humiliation, I would say the majority of my subs do enjoy humiliation. Obviously, I can't do extreme humiliation on YouTube because that's not allowed. I definitely have limits with humiliation of what I'm willing to do. I don't do race play and stuff like that, but I do enjoy humiliation. But for me, and I have a couple subs that I've made this clear to, it takes me a little while to feel comfortable where I can go like full throttle on somebody, because for a couple of reasons. One, I'm an introvert, and that's just how I am personality wise, but also because and the last interview I did with Ching Chong that you'll see, Mr. Ching Chong, made me realize when you guys get in your subspace and you're very vulnerable, that can really take you to a very dark place. And I like to be careful with my subs. I'm not trying to cause anybody to have a mental breakdown or anything worse than that. So I do think you have to get to know someone and build a level of trust before you go very hardcore with the humiliation. So that's my thought on that. Good evening to Scott. Jono is from the UK, so you are not from Australia. I was wrong. He's into the mental. I don't know if you meant to add more to that comment or if it was just mental. Thank you, Mike, for the heart. That was lovely. Mr. Ronan says, I am very proud to be speaking with you live on my master's account with his permission. May I hope for your attention and ask stretch for your, where did it go? Reply. Okay. Jono says, mental, physiological control, findom side, etc., and thinking of surrendering to you. I am UK goddess. Well, I don't know if you saw the short that I posted earlier today, which was part of the longer video I posted earlier today, but if you want to serve me, absolutely, we can do that. But I am never going to force anybody to serve me. If you want to serve me, you got to send tribute, you got to reach out to me. The only time that I track people down is if they're, if I post that I'm on the hunt and then people are engaging with my content, then I will hunt them down. But for the most part, I do not pursue subs. You have to make the first step as far as paying tribute and that type of thing. I'm not going to twist your arm. You have to want to do it. Oops. Gnome asks, this leads me to another question, why you go with YouTube and not X? I do both. I'm on X as well. Is there more to that comment? Where is all this dog fur coming from? Somebody's shedding. Who's shedding? Sheldon, how about like nurturing and encouragement? I've actually never had a sub that really wanted to be nurtured and encouraged. Ugh, he got me. That was gross. I didn't want that. Ugh, no, don't do that. That was yucky. I've actually never had a sub that wanted that. We call that being a soft dom, somebody that's nurturing and encouraging. I'm not opposed to it. I could certainly do it. I mean, that's kind of naturally my personality, although I'm not a huge fan. What are you eating? I'm not a huge fan of very needy subs. I don't particularly like to be called mommy. I think it's a little weird to be sexualized as a mommy figure. If it was strictly like non-sexual, nurturing, caring relationship, I could do that. Hopefully that answers your question. Okay, that person just keeps saying the same thing. Oh, that's interesting. Random guy says, that's an interesting question. When playing with subs over multiple sessions, do you notice certain tolerance build up in the sub for certain acts, humiliation, etc.? How do you keep things spicy without constantly pushing boundaries? So that's a very good question. Like I mentioned before, I am relatively new to DS relationships and financial domination. So from my short experience doing multiple sessions with people, I find that a lot of subs are not great at communicating, and a lot of them will just deactivate and disappear, which is annoying. And I make that very clear that I like people to communicate with me. You know, I feel like so many people are just looking for instant gratification, and even though you may be a sub, you have certain things that you like. But the thing is, no one can read your mind. Nobody is a mind reader. So I feel like for a lot of subs, when they're not getting exactly what they want without even communicating that, they just disappear and they go on to the next one. You know what I'm saying? So I am very big into communication. So I like to regularly check in with the subs that I do have. And that involves getting out of character. And some people don't like that. They only like it when you're in character. You know what I'm saying? But for me, sometimes I do like to get out of character and get feedback about what things you like, what things you don't like. Am I being too mean? Not mean enough? I like all that kind of feedback. And it's not topping from the bottom if I'm asking you. So I would say, in my opinion, that communication is extremely important. So having a sub that communicate, and like I said, I find a lot of subs have a hard time with communication. So for me, a good sub is a good communicator, and I feel like that's kind of rare. So that's kind of what I've been seeing. So you know, I would say that with communication, then it's easier to know what you like, what you don't like. Sometimes there's a natural chemistry with certain subs, and sometimes there's not. So it really just depends on the relationship and the person. I personally do like to push boundaries a little bit, but if somebody, you know, communicates that that's too far for them, then I'll stop. So, you know, that's kind of I think it's a little tricky because I feel like I would say most people don't communicate enough. That's my 2 cents. Hello, Viole. Welcome back. Thank you, Scott. He just can't stop talking about how beautiful I am. even with zero makeup on because I just got home from the gym and took a shower. Jono says, thank you. I will definitely be sending. Sounds lovely. Sheldon agrees with me about calling someone mommy. Yeah, it's a little, like I said, if it's someone who it's a truly like non-sexual relationship, then I'm comfortable with like a nurturing, you know, mommy child relationship, but I don't do like it. I have to say, like, it kind of grosses me out. Like, I'm thinking of this one girl in particular who pops up on my Instagram feed a lot, and she's very beautiful, but she's got her big old boobies out, and she keeps talking about you calling her mommy, and like it kind of grosses me out. So that's just me. I know that a lot of you are into that, but just me. Random guy says, those out of characters are the best. You can laugh, connect in real, and also communicate what works and what doesn't before moving in. I use this to let doms know that they can go harder. Exactly, yeah. So I have a relatively new sub, just started a couple weeks ago. I'm gonna mention her in my next update video, but I've already done a check-in with her, like, how are things going, you know, and a lot of subs say they like 10 out of 10 humiliation. But as I said before, for me, like, I have to get to know somebody, develop a relationship with them before I go very hard on somebody. So, because I don't want to put somebody in a place where they have like a freaking mental breakdown or something like that. So, that's my personal style. So yes, I think that's very important to check in with people, you know, and I asked her, like, you know, how are things going? And she said that she wanted me to be meaner. So, you know, that's good feedback for me because, you know, I can gradually increase the level of humiliation. Viole says, had a question on my mind since the last live I caught. You wanted us on our knees when watching. That might make it hard to follow and type. Would you like your watchers to leg cuff themselves? Do you mean like cuffing their, like, your legs together? I don't really understand what you're saying there. And, you know, it depends on your setup. If you're on your phone, it's easy to kneel, you know, but if you're watching from like a computer or something else, maybe it's not so easy. You know, the kneeling is optional, okay? It's optional, but it's nice to just think about a whole room full of people kneeling to me when I'm speaking. Oh. Triple A says, can you help me figure out something about my life? That is a very vague and weird question. I am not a psychologist nor a therapist here to help you. So that's not really what we're here for. But I hope you figure it out. Oh, Ben says, did you say a while back that you were autistic? No, I am not autistic in any way, shape, or form. I'm not on the spectrum whatsoever, but I have worked with people with Asperger's and autism on any part of the spectrum for many, many years. So I'm very familiar with people on the spectrum. I am not. Ooh, Saif is watching us from Egypt. Hello to you. Paul is wondering what my tribute is. It is 50 and up. So it can be any amount, $50 or over. Hello to Ifel. I don't know if I'm seeing that right. Viole is talking about actual leg cuffs. I'm not sure what that looks like, but you can always send me a photo. That sounds rather interesting. Walter, or Walt, says, is this a draining? Not right now. We're just doing like a Q&A, random conversation, but if you want to get drained, go for it. Random guy says, also, the more you connect, the more humiliation ammo you can get. Absolutely. One of my best sessions was one where the Dom roasted my board gaming habit. That was something I had mentioned 2 to 3 sessions ago. Exactly. And it's funny you mentioned that because John, who I mentioned in my video that I posted this morning, messages me random stuff, and I literally told him that today. I said, just so you know, everything you tell me, I'm intaking it like a computer, all this little input, and I'm saving it up in my head so I can use it against you. So yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Islam says, hello, this obsession started from nothing and spread. What caused it? I have no idea what obsession you're talking about. Make your questions make sense, please. And Sheldon says, I prefer nurturing because I don't get too much physical contact. Hugging really helps. That's cute. You know, I feel like if you don't get a whole lot of physical contact, then getting massages might be helpful. Just a thought. Okay, so we've gone quite a few minutes over now, and I forgot to eat lunch before I went to the gym, so I'm getting hungry. Let's see, upcoming content. I think I have another Lady Boss video on my, no, not a Lady Boss, like a femdom, like a snap and send, those ones. Yeah, I think I have one of those on my phone. I'm gonna post hopefully in the next couple days. I have that new video I'm gonna be making. I'm definitely gonna be doing another hypnosis video soon. And we'll go from there. So, let's see, is there anything else? Yes, don't forget to check out my other platforms if you haven't already. And I hope you guys have a random guy. I can't do too much SPH on YouTube. Those videos have been getting flagged, so can't do too much of those. But at some point, I'm gonna do more explicit. I shouldn't say that, like not like nude or anything, but explicit words in my videos for my adult platforms, but I can't put that kind of stuff on YouTube, so obviously. So I have to be very careful with what I'm saying on the YouTube. There's only so much that I can say on this platform. So I do have other platforms where I will be posting more of that content. So have a wonderful Thanksgiving. I will not be live this Thursday or next Sunday. So it'll probably be the Thursday after that. I shouldn't say I'm not gonna be live this Thursday. I'm not sure. Probably not. If I do go live, it'll kind of be last minute. So you can check normal time, 9 to 10 p.m. Eastern time on Thanksgiving. I might pop in if things have died down. I might be shopping though, because I might not be shopping because I already did a lot of Black Friday shopping yesterday. If you saw my ex post, you would know that I spent over $600, which is obviously been all covered by now, but I want to spend more. So more Black Friday shopping for me. Yes. And so have a great Thanksgiving. Maybe I'll talk to you, maybe I won't. I will definitely be live, not this Thursday, following Thursday. Have a wonderful evening.